It looks comforting, doesn't it? You've been in the air for 3 hours. The cabin is cold, your legs are stiff from sitting too long, and your mind is craving a small comfort. Then you hear the familiar clatter of the drink cart approaching, and the aroma of coffee or tea drifts down the aisle. You think, a hot cup is exactly what I need. You say, yes, please, and lift the cup to your lips, but stop right there. Put it down. What if I told you that the water in that seemingly harmless cup has been sitting in a tank that hasn't been scrubbed in months? That tank lives in the underbelly of the plane, often just inches away from the lavatory. And the water in your cup? It's flash heated, not boiled, and it isn't hot enough to reliably kill bacteria like E. coli or other pathogens thriving in that slimy biofilm inside the tank. For a 20-year-old with a strong stomach, this may result in nothing more than a mild stomach ache. But for passengers over 60, with immune systems that are no longer at their peak or with kidney or digestive sensitivities, this simple cup of water can land you in the hospital before the plane even touches down. I've seen vacations ruined, flights cut short, and trips delayed because someone thought they were just hydrating when, in reality, they were drinking a cocktail of bacteria. We call this risk the galley gamble. Hello, my name is Mila. I have been a flight attendant for over 15 years. I've worked domestic hops and international long-haul flights across the Atlantic and Pacific. I've poured countless drinks, guided passengers through turbulence, and even held the hands of people experiencing medical emergencies at 35,000 feet. I call myself a guardian of travel because airlines are businesses, but your safety is personal to me. Marketing shows you smiling pilots, cozy seats, and sparkling skies, but it doesn't show you maintenance logs for water systems or explain how a pressurized cabin affects a 70-year-old body differently than a 30-year-old body. My mission is to make sure you travel safely, even decades into your golden years. I want you to see the world until you're 90 and enjoy every journey without risk. Let's start with the source of your drink. That cup of water you just took from the galley, it comes from a tank, not a tap like at home. Most passengers assume it works just like household water, clean, filtered, and safe. But airplane water tanks are filled at the airport through hoses dragged across the tarmac. They sit in the sun, in the rain, and are handled by workers racing to turn the plane around in under an hour. The hose might even touch the ground. Flushing the tank is required, but scrubbing it is not. Over time, a slimy layer called biofilm develops inside, harboring bacteria that can make people sick. EPA and airline testing have repeatedly shown that a significant portion of aircraft water systems test positive for coliform bacteria, and occasionally E. coli. I will never forget Mr. Davies, a 75-year-old gentleman flying from London to Los Angeles on an 11-hour flight. 4 hours in, he complained of severe cramping. He assumed it was the chicken he had eaten. He spent the next 6 hours in the lavatory, pale, sweating, and miserable. When paramedics met him at the gate, it became clear the real cause was the glass of tap water he had taken at the start of the flight. For seniors, just one contaminated drink can ruin the entire journey before it begins. Now that we understand the dangers of the water itself, let's talk about what happens inside your body at 35,000 feet. Even if the water were perfectly sterile, there's a biological challenge that disproportionately affects passengers over 65. In your brain, you have sensors called osmoreceptors. These are your body's natural thirst gauges, telling you when your blood is too concentrated and you need fluids. As we age, these sensors lose sensitivity. By the time a 70-year-old feels thirsty, they are often already 1.5 to 2 liters dehydrated. Combine this with the cabin environment, air that is drier than the Sahara, with humidity levels often hovering around 10 to 20%. Every breath you take, every time you exhale, you lose moisture. Your skin dries out, your blood thickens. Thicker blood is sluggish blood. Sit in a cramped economy seat for 6 hours and you're setting the stage for deep vein thrombosis, or DVT, a blood clot in your leg. I remember a flight from New York to Paris. There was a 68-year-old woman sitting in 14C. She had skipped the drink service entirely because she wanted to sleep. 6 hours later, during descent, she tried to stand for the lavatory and collapsed. It wasn't a heart attack. It was fainting from severe dehydration and low blood pressure. When we checked her legs, one was swollen. A clot had formed because she hadn't hydrated, hadn't moved, and hadn't kept her blood flowing. We administered oxygen, and she was taken to the ER upon landing, starting her Paris trip behind a hospital door instead of exploring the city. Hydration in the air is not optional, it is a prescription. I call it the 8-ounce rule. For every hour in the air, you need to consume at least 8 ounces of fluid from a sealed bottle. Do not wait for the drink cart, which only comes around every 2 hours. By then, it's too late. Bring your own water, buy a bottle at the airport, and keep sipping. Treat water as medicine, because at high altitude, for seniors, it is. Next, we must tackle what I call the lavatory anxiety loop. Many seniors avoid drinking liquids to skip trips to the bathroom. You think you're being smart, planning to reduce discomfort, but in reality, you're setting yourself up for medical issues. By intentionally dehydrating yourself, your kidneys must concentrate urine, creating a toxic environment in the bladder. In older adults, urinary tract infections often do not present with pain. They present as sudden confusion or delirium. I've seen passengers mid-flight become combative, aggressive, or hallucinate simply because they refuse to drink. Families panic, assuming a stroke or serious neurological event. Most of the time, it's a preventable UTI caused by dehydration. I remember Mrs. Gable on a long Miami to London flight. She had avoided all liquids due to fear of using the tiny lavatory. 6 hours in, she screamed, confused, tried to open the cabin door, and became combative. We had to intervene physically to keep her safe. Later, her daughter explained that she hadn't had water since the night before. By the time they arrived, her electrolytes were critically low, causing her brain to misfire. This is why seat choice matters. Book an aisle seat even if it costs extra. That $50 is medical insurance. It allows you freedom to get up every 2 hours, preventing your system from locking up. Bring wipes to sanitize surfaces because the lavatory is a biohazard. Drink consistently, monitor your body. Then there's the danger of ice. Many travelers think ice kills bacteria. It doesn't. Freezing simply puts bacteria into hibernation. Once ingested, they wake up and start multiplying. Ice may be made on board from tank water, which we know is risky. Turbulence can drop scoops on the galley floor, contaminated from hundreds of shoes and airborne particles. Even if it's rinsed quickly, it's not sterile. I had a frequent flyer who always ordered gin and tonic with ice. On one flight, the ice machine's seal was broken. By the time he landed, he had a parasitic infection and spent his business trip in the hospital. He never orders ice again. The rule is simple: no tap water, no galley water, and no ice unless it comes from a sealed, certified source. For seniors, drinking otherwise is a gamble with your health and your vacation. Now that we've covered water and ice, let's talk about the drinks many seniors think are harmless: coffee, tea, and alcohol. These are what I call negative fluids. They seem hydrating, but at 35,000 feet, they do the opposite. Coffee and tea are diuretics. They suppress a hormone called ADH, which tells your kidneys to retain water. Alcohol compounds the problem. Every cup of coffee or glass of wine can make you lose 1.5 to 2 cups of fluid through urination and evaporation. Combine that with the already dry cabin air, and suddenly, what feels like a simple beverage is a prescription for dehydration. The effects on a senior body are more severe than you think. Alcohol thins the blood and dilates blood vessels. This, coupled with dehydration, can cause blood pressure to drop dramatically. Stand up quickly to reach the lavatory and lights out. You could faint, fall, or worse. I saw this firsthand on a flight to Hawaii with a retirement group celebrating a milestone. A 68-year-old man had 3 glasses of champagne and no water. He stood to retrieve his carry-on, collapsed in the aisle, broke his nose, and required 4 hours of monitoring and first aid. His vacation began in the emergency aisle instead of the beach. If you must drink, here's the rule. For every glass of alcohol, drink at least 2 full glasses of sealed water. This offsets the diuretic effect and keeps your blood volume stable. If you crave flavor, choose beverages with electrolytes or tomato juice, which provides sodium to help retain water. Carbonated drinks are a separate hazard. Many seniors think sparkling water helps settle their stomach, but physics says otherwise. According to Boyle's law, gas expands as pressure drops. On a plane, the gas in carbonated beverages and even your digestive system expands roughly 30%. For a younger traveler, that's a burp. For someone over 70, it can cause bloating, push against the diaphragm, and even restrict breathing. sometimes triggering a panic response that mimics a heart attack. I once had a passenger, a gentleman who loved his gin and fizz, on a long flight. He had 3 drinks, fell asleep, and woke up gasping for air. The expansion of gas in his stomach pushed against his diaphragm, restricting lung function and compressing his heart. We had to walk him up and down the aisle for 20 minutes to move the gas. It was humiliating for him and terrifying for us. Flat water, plain and simple, is the safest choice. Move if you feel bloated, stretch your legs, walk to the galley, and let gravity help the gas pass naturally. Hydration, however, is only half the battle. Even if you drink water consistently, you must balance electrolytes. Drinking plain water for hours without food or electrolytes can flush sodium and potassium from your body, leading to hyponatremia. This condition is dangerous, especially for seniors on medications that already affect electrolyte balance. Symptoms include muscle cramps, heart palpitations, fatigue, and even fainting. You might think you are being cautious, but overhydration without electrolytes can be as harmful as dehydration. Here's my secret tip. Become your own chemist at 35,000 feet. Bring electrolyte powder sticks in your carry-on, add one to your first bottle of water, and sip throughout the flight. It helps your body absorb the water instead of peeing it out. I've used these for passengers who were already feeling weak, and within 20 minutes their color returned, legs stopped twitching, and dizziness vanished. 2 or 3 sticks for a long haul is enough to stabilize your blood volume, keep your heart happy, and maintain electrolyte balance. Now that we've addressed drinking, let's move to the subtle ways water enters your body, through the mucous membranes. You might think rinsing your mouth with tap water is harmless, but your gums and the tissues under your tongue are highly vascular. Contaminated water absorbs directly into your bloodstream. On a red-eye to London, Mrs. Lewis spent 15 minutes brushing and rinsing with galley water. By the time she cleared customs, her eye was swollen shut from bacterial contamination. Even minimal exposure can trigger illness in seniors with compromised immunity. When you pack your toiletries, bring a small travel bottle of filtered water. Brush with that. Avoid rinsing with tap water. Use pre-moistened wipes for your face. Treat the sink as a biohazard. These small precautions protect you from bacteria entering through open mucous membranes and keep your flight safe. Now that we've covered water, ice, and drinks, let's tackle a risk most seniors don't even think about: sparkling water and carbonated beverages. You might enjoy a fizzy drink at altitude, thinking it settles your stomach, but physics disagrees. Boyle's law states that as pressure decreases, gas expands. At 35,000 feet, that carbonation in your beverage, combined with the gas already in your digestive system, expands roughly 30%. For younger passengers, that's just a burp. For seniors, slow digestion and weaker abdominal muscles mean trapped gas can push up against the diaphragm, compress the heart, and restrict breathing. I've seen this trigger code red medical calls where passengers clutch their chests, convinced they are having a heart attack, only to discover it's trapped gas. Even if you drink plain water, hydration alone isn't enough. Drinking large amounts without electrolytes can flush sodium and potassium from your system, causing hyponatremia. Seniors on medications affecting electrolyte balance are especially vulnerable. Symptoms include dizziness, fatigue, cramps, heart palpitations, and fainting. This is why I always tell my passengers, water is life, but electrolytes are survival. Bring packets of electrolyte powder. Add one to your first bottle and sip steadily. This ensures your body absorbs the water instead of excreting it, stabilizing blood volume, keeping your heart steady, and preventing dangerous dips in sodium levels. Even more subtle, your body absorbs water through mucous membranes. Rinsing your mouth or brushing your teeth with tap water may feel harmless, but your gums and the tissue under your tongue are highly vascular. Contaminated water enters your bloodstream directly. I remember Mrs. Lewis on a red-eye to London. She brushed and rinsed with galley water for 15 minutes. By the time she cleared customs, her eye was swollen shut from bacterial contamination. For seniors, even minor exposure can trigger infections and hospital visits, ruining vacations before they begin. The takeaway is simple: treat water like medication at altitude. Use only sealed bottles, sip regularly, and add electrolytes. Never rely on galley water, ice, or beverages from the cart without control. Avoid carbonated drinks entirely, and keep mucous membranes protected. Your body will thank you, your heart will stay steady, and your flight will remain safe. These small, deliberate choices prevent dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, and gastrointestinal emergencies in the sky. Now that we've mastered hydration, it's time to address a hidden danger: the lavatory. For seniors, the airplane bathroom is often a source of anxiety. Knees ache, balance is off, aisles are narrow, and turbulence makes each step a challenge. Many passengers try to avoid this discomfort by deliberately dehydrating themselves before the flight or refusing water during the journey. They think they are being smart, controlling the situation, but in reality, they're putting themselves at severe risk. Holding fluids for 6 to 8 hours forces the kidneys to overwork, concentrates urine, and creates a highly toxic bladder environment. For seniors, this can trigger urinary tract infections that present as sudden confusion, aggression, or delirium in flight. I've seen it countless times. A woman in her late 60s, let's call her Mrs. Gable, boarded a long haul from Miami to London. She refused water because of the bathroom ordeal. 6 hours in, she became confused, began screaming at nearby passengers, and even tried to open the cabin door. We had to restrain her for safety. Once she landed, doctors confirmed severe dehydration and a urinary tract infection. This scenario is far too common and entirely preventable. The rule is simple: book an aisle seat, hydrate consistently, and follow a timed voiding protocol. Visit the bathroom every 2 hours, regardless of perceived need. Next, let's talk about ice. Many passengers request it to cool their drinks or enjoy a soda. Here's the danger: freezing does not kill bacteria, it merely puts them into hibernation. Ice from the galley or onboard machines often comes from the same contaminated tank water. I've seen ice scoops dropped on the floor, rinsed quickly, and reused, creating a bacterial hazard. One frequent flyer learned this the hard way on a trip to Singapore, ending up in the hospital with a parasitic infection. The safest approach is to refuse ice entirely, ask for sealed cans, or gently warm a drink with a hot cup if necessary. Lastly, let's cover diuretics, alcohol and caffeine. These drinks suppress ADH, the hormone that signals your kidneys to retain water. At altitude, alcohol thins blood and dilates vessels, while dehydration thickens it. Standing up after a glass of wine or coffee can cause fainting, broken bones, or even concussions. The rule for seniors: for every cup of diuretic beverage, drink at least 2 cups of sealed water to neutralize the effect. By following these hydration and beverage strategies, you protect your kidneys, your brain, and your heart. You stay alert, avoid in-flight emergencies, and arrive at your destination ready to enjoy your trip safely. Finally, we need to talk about the last piece of the puzzle: electrolytes and the balance of your body at 35,000 feet. Drinking plain water is not enough for seniors. Too much without minerals can flush out sodium and potassium, leaving your heart and muscles vulnerable. I've seen passengers drink liters of water, feeling responsible and healthy, only to develop cramps, palpitations, or extreme fatigue mid-flight. The solution is simple: bring electrolyte packets or tablets. Add one to your bottle as soon as you purchase it at the airport. This ensures that every sip nourishes your blood, keeps your heart steady, and prevents the dangerous effects of hyponatremia. We also need to address hygiene. The airplane lavatory is a microbial hotspot. When brushing teeth or rinsing your face, remember that mucous membranes absorb contaminants faster than your stomach. A tiny cut or floss-induced bleed can turn tank water or tap water into a direct bloodstream infection. Use a small travel bottle of filtered water for oral care, dry brushing, and pre-moistened wipes for your face. Never let tap water touch your eyes, nose, or mouth. Treat the lavatory like a biohazard zone. Your safety depends on it. Lastly, let's talk about sparkling water. Many seniors think carbonation settles their stomach or feels refreshing. At altitude, it's a serious risk. Gas in sparkling drinks expands roughly 30% due to lower cabin pressure. For younger passengers, it may just cause burps. For seniors, trapped gas pushes against the diaphragm and heart, sometimes triggering chest pain that mimics a heart attack. If bloating occurs, stand up and walk to the galley. Movement helps the gas reabsorb and reduces pressure on vital organs. Stick to still water. Flat water hydrates without creating internal pressure. To summarize, treat water as medicine. Avoid tap, ice, coffee, and tea from the galley. Use sealed bottles, add electrolytes, and sip consistently. Hydrate even when you're not thirsty. Follow timed bathroom visits, and choose still beverages. These small but crucial steps protect your kidneys, heart, and brain. I know it seems like a lot, but remember why you travel. You've worked your whole life to explore, to see your grandchildren, to experience the world. You deserve to arrive at your destination healthy, energized, and safe. Follow these protocols, and you'll be in control of your body at altitude. You'll avoid emergencies, fainting, or hospitalization, and you'll enjoy every moment of your journey. I'm Mila, your guardian in the sky. Drink wisely, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next flight, ready to explore the world together.